Children, healthy, lively, naughty, beautiful, without a care in the world today, and holding out the promise of a future filled with possibilities. Games, stories, smiles, hugs, life skills, and lessons on right and wrong. A normal childhood is a right guaranteed to every child.
My son Arjun is a very loving boy. I think I feel lucky to have someone like him.
Yet for these children, their childhood is more a matter of chance and less a fact of life to be taken for granted. A trick of destiny has meant that not a single one of them was born into the family they belong to today. These children are born, as they say, from the heart.
The only relation you have, which is the most purest of all forms, is adopted relationship, because it is based on nothing but just pure love.
India is home to 25 million orphans. Most are forgotten once they reach an orphanage. Overcrowding, malnutrition, poor sanitation, indifferent health, and inadequate education are the way of life over here. And those vital ingredients that set humans apart, nurturing relationships and self-esteem, are conspicuous by their absence. And yet, only 3,000 adoptions happen each year, though there are at least 10,000 parents in India waiting to adopt at any given point of time.
When we started the process, the first thing they said, you'll have to wait for 5 years, which is ridiculous because we decided to adopt when we were both 37. So waiting 5 years means we were ancient and old to have a baby.
The hurdles that I faced while adopting Arjun was quite a few, in fact. It took me almost 3 years to get him home. Being the first man to adopt as a single parent, it was quite difficult for people to feel that, okay, there is a new case coming up which is different from others.
Overall, when you think about adoption, then two things strike out. Number one, it really needs to be on the top of the agenda. The second thing is that when you look at the entire ecosystem, the laws, the processes, the agencies involved, the police, the judiciary, then all of them, the sensitization, the streamlining of the processes, that's very much required so that the time frame reduces. Movement of children from one agency to another agency, right? Or from an orphanage to an adoption agency is being made very difficult. If a child enters an orphanage, then the chances are that that child will never, ever be even considered for adoption. The interest of the child really needs to be the focus rather than a sort of control mindset.
Catalyst for Social Action works on quality care for the institutionalized child, with the ultimate goal being adoption. CSA finds homes for children who don't get adopted in normal conditions, rural children, older children, siblings, even children with special needs. CSA supports mentally challenged children who remain unadopted. They are transferred from adoption agencies into a special home set by CSA jointly with the adoption agency. Where the child remains unadopted, CSA aims at providing quality care, upgrades to orphanages by providing drinking water, electricity, sanitation, ensuring nutrition, immunization, and general health conditions, providing learning and recreation facilities, providing for English medium schooling. CSA creates awareness through promotional campaigns, sensitizes the government, judiciary and grassroots Anganwadi workers. CSA informs and guides adoptive parents, hand-holding them through the adoption process. CSA advocates policy and practice change escalating issues. CSA currently engages with 30 adoption agencies and orphanages in rural Maharashtra and Orissa.
We want people to be aware, to know that all is not well with the institutionalized child. Once a child reaches an orphanage, she is assumed to be cared for and generally forgotten. Probably this lack of sensitiveness that explains why the number of adoptions are so low in the country. For the last decade or so, the number of adoptions in the country has remained at 3,500. Now the question to be asked is, why are the numbers so low and why have things not changed over the years? We want the government to remember that the Indian Constitution guarantees the child the right to be brought up in a family. Also, that we are signatories to the UN Convention for the Rights of the Child. We have promised to take care of our children. Why then are we so much behind? CSA is determined to make change happen, and we know we will get there.
In our country, there are many lucky children like Arjun who have parents who have adopted them, and they have come into a new home, they have come into a new life. But there are many still who are not yet adopted, who are still waiting to be hugged, who are still waiting to be held. If India has many CSAs, every family will be filled with joy, and there will be a home for every child.